No, I can't laugh.
People have always told me I'm a positive person with a great outlook in life. I am definitely what you would call a glass half full kind of gal, and I always try to find the silver lining in everything. As cliche as it sounds, I would say that my motto would be to live, laugh and love. And the reason I am able to be like this is because of all the positive people that surround me with their inspiring stories, and what I want to do is give them a voice and to share them with you. Welcome to Kandy Kamera. Hello and welcome back to the next episode of Kandy Kamera. Today we are on location to interview an old friend of mine, Verity. Verity is the co-owner of the chain Owee, and here she is today to share her journey of success. So, welcome back to the next episode of Kandy Kamera. Our guest today is Verity. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
So we're here today to talk to Verity about her journey as a businesswoman. I don't know if you've heard of Owee. If you haven't, you need to go and try it because it literally is the best burgers in town.
Thanks.
So we'll start with, so where did your sort of love for cooking start?
Do you know what? It wasn't so much love for cooking. It was just more of a love for making sandwiches. It was just like a phase in my life.
Yeah.
So I had like I had an internship and I used to make everyone sandwiches in the office, and it became quite a thing just every day to make these like massive sandwiches for everyone. And then I left the internship and I was like, well, I'm actually going to start like a sandwich club. So I had this like weekly subscription where you would come and collect a lunchbox. I think it was every Friday. And I did that for maybe about a month. And then I was like, well, what I might actually do is kind of like do a pop-up where I sell my sandwiches every day. So I like went to a couple of pubs, had these full-time pop-ups that I had on like Deliveroo and Just Eat and some other delivery services. Didn't really make any money, to be fair. I was always just breaking even or making a loss. So after a while I realised it was time to not do that anymore. What I knew I wanted to do is I knew I wanted to open a takeaway with my partner who had been helping me do the Gourmet Sandwich Club. And I was like ringing around loads of takeaways in the area like, oh, have you got any leases available? Like, never done this before. And then the guy next door to this house was like, oh, you can buy my shop off me. And then within 6 weeks we had this takeaway. So we were like, okay, right, watching loads of YouTube videos, never made a burger before in our life.
It's crazy.
Got to the first day of service, hadn't even prepped any food. It was just an absolute sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, it's fine.
Fucking shambles. And then basically it was just this shambolic thing that made really good food that you had to wait a really long time for, with just like really bad organisation, but the food was like totally worth it.
Yeah.
And then what we managed to do was like, the food, obviously, the thing that sold it, like I'm so stupid, okay, I'm like rambling on, but if I rewind back, so we opened this restaurant with like a 20-page menu in a kitchen about half the size of this room, and we decided to make our own bread rolls, and we would make like 40 bread rolls a day. Within like an hour they'd be gone. So we were just like, wow, this is... And actually what would happen is I'd never made bread rolls before, so I'd spend the whole fucking day making these bread rolls, and then it would come to the actual service and I wouldn't have anything prepped, like not a single thing. So someone would be like, oh, can I get a chicken burger? I'd be there like battering the chicken. Where's the batter? Like, honestly, it was chaos. This went on for about a month and we were just like, right, we've got... So what happened was like step by step, we ironed out all of the problems, realised you have to prep, got someone to do the front of house, and for about 2 months it was just like us finding our feet from like the very first step of never having a restaurant to having one.
Yeah.
Just making mistakes, learning from them, and then within a few months it became like, you know, it was starting to get really, really popular. We were like, wow, like this could actually be something. And then we like kept growing it with the staff, and then within 6 months we were like, oh, we're ready to leave this place now, and we left our staff in there. And then within like 9 months it was fully running itself, and we're like, let's just open a second restaurant. So we opened Owee Diner at North Street.
Yeah.
And Owee Diner at North Street, like, again, you know, I wouldn't say it was a smooth transition. We still hadn't learned all of our lessons. We also bought all of the equipment second hand. So within like 24 hours of being opening and fucking queues of people down the road. All of the equipment started breaking, and
Oh,
everyone was
God.
getting really angry, and I just like burst out crying, having a breakdown mid-shift. Again, we ironed out all of these problems, and then we were on holiday, and we were like, oh, we should just totally open a vegan version, because the vegan menu did really well. So we went on like basically, from this story you'll understand that everything I do in life is really impulse.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone who thinks about things, I just do them, then I'm like, oh, it's fine, it all works out.
It seems to work.
So we sat on a beach and we were like, oh, we should open a vegan version of Owee. So we found this shop online and put an offer in on it without even seeing it.
Wow.
And we got the shop, right? And we got back, we were like, oh, wicked, this is our shop. It was a bit of a fucking shithole. So we gutted the whole shop, obviously, made it into this Owee vegan, and actually that was the first opening we've ever had that was like really successful, really smooth, and actually I only really needed to be there for like 2 months, which is fantastic. Oh, I missed a step. In between that, I opened up a delivery kitchen in London. And then, and actually that's why I thought to do the vegan thing, because we did vegan food and it did really well.
Yeah.
So then I had this delivery kitchen in London, the vegan shop, the Picton Street and the Owee North Street, so that's 4 Owees. And then basically the delivery shop contract came to the end of its... The delivery shop came to the end of its contract. I get tongue-tied. So now we were back to having 3 Owees, and we were absolutely desperate to open up another Owee. But we wanted to do it in London, and in London it's like, if you get the wrong shop, like, you will lose a shitload of money.
Yeah.
So it took like a whole year to find somewhere, and then we finally found somewhere, and it was actually this shop in Brixton that's still not open, and the contract's been going through for a year, but it's just like a really long process.
Mm-hmm.
But then in between that, we found this shop in Dalston. So Dalston is the shop that we've opened right now. Obviously, it was meant to open at the beginning of the pandemic. Shit hit the fan, so we've only been able to open it on Deliveroo, but it's opening to the public on the 8th of July. It's our biggest store. It's amazing. It's vegan only.
Yeah.
And then also in 20 days' time, we're opening up in Brighton in a delivery kitchen. And then also the Brixton one is now going through, which is going to open up in September. So I have Owee Picton Street, which was meat, which is now turned to vegan. Owee Vegan in Baldwin, which is 100% vegan. Owee North Street, which is still meat and will always remain meat.
Yeah.
Owee Dalston, which is vegan. Owee Brighton, which is vegan. And then Owee Brixton, which is vegan. But obviously, Owee Dalston's open, Owee Brighton's about to open, but Owee Brixton's probably going to open in a couple of months.
Okay, cool.
And as a company, we made a pledge that we wouldn't open up any more meat stores. It would only be vegan, because, you know, there's a big difference between going and buying yourself a steak from the shop and actually being responsible for the death of thousands of animals.
Yeah.
That is the story of Owee in a nutshell.
That's amazing. You've literally answered like so many questions already. But we'll take it back to the gourmet burger kitchen. I don't know if you actually I was actually a delivery driver for you then.
Woo!
Yeah, but obviously it was our friend Worm that used
You mean
to...
Gourmet Sandwich Club?
It's Gourmet Sandwich Club.
Burger Kitchen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Wish I had GBK, bro.
No, yeah, sorry.
Actually, no, they've gone bankrupt.
It was in the pub, wasn't it? In the Clifton. Yeah. So I used to do like deliveries for you then. I don't know if you know.
Did you?
Yeah. So there we
Did
go.
I ever see you?
No, because it was Worm that used to organise.
I remember the sandwiches used to take like 2 hours.
Yeah, and people would always complain, but then after they'd be so happy because the food was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did love these burgers. So so with the vegan's crazy. So I've seen also that you were getting complaints because people thought it was real chicken.
Basically, we get from this supplier. There's like one product that we sell from this supplier, and it's like so realistic that people were like posting us on the vegan forums. Like, I just went to Owee Vegan and I've been served real chicken. I was like, well, why would I have real chicken at Owee Vegan?
Yeah.
But actually, that is vegan chicken.
Yeah.
And we used to get loads of people call us out for that, and I was like, bro, like, come on, like, what vegan store is gonna have like real chicken in the fridge that they just accidentally?
Well, you're just asking to be shut down, basically.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just some really sick fuck that sells vegans real chicken.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's so good. And so you won a delivery award. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, so last year we had a really good year of Owee Vegan. Its first year we won Restaurant of the Year, which I think was out of like 16,000 restaurants.
Yeah.
We won Best Vegan, and we won also Bristol's Best Vegan.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It
That's
just
so good.
fucking kicked off. I just think what it is, it's like, you know, really naughty vegan food, not, you know, healthy vegan food.
But I think the good thing about Owee I love, I never feel shit after eating your burgers, you know?
Do you not? I mean, it is quite calorific.
I mean, it is, but sometimes, you know, like, I love McDonald's and everything, but sometimes I can feel shit after eating it.
I mean, I love McDonald's.
Yeah, but like, Owee, like, we love it so much. It's amazing, it really is.
You should try the vegan one, because if you don't feel shit after normal Owee, you really won't feel shit after vegan.
Yeah, I know, we tried the vegan one, haven't we, as well?
You won't get the meat sweat.
Yeah, it's so good. It really is.
Thanks,
so I'm proud of yourself. But so let's just talk about struggles. Have you had a lot of struggles sort of within it? So I know that you said you suffer from anxiety.
Yeah, I think I think when I was in my teens, like not in my teens, in my early 20s, like, as you know, like, you know, we all used to party really, really hard. Yeah. When I was younger, I was like so confident, and then all of a sudden I got to like 25, and well, maybe like 22 actually, and I just started to like feel these really weird feelings, and I realised what I was feeling was anxiety, because I was always like paranoid that everyone hated me, and you know, I was always worrying about what I said to people, and then this just got progressively worse in my 20s, and I was like, shit, like, I can't even go and hang out with my friend without rethinking about everything I said. And I was like, wow. And then I was like, I need to like be able to focus my attention into something that stops me worrying all the time. Because when I'm really busy, I don't have anxiety, because I don't have time to think about anxiety.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I kind of believe that that's the main cause, is having too much time on your hands for actually overthinking.
Yeah.
So when I started Owee, it really helped with my anxiety. But like, now I have like 60 staff, and the anxiety should be worse, but what's unusual about the way my brain works is, if something catastrophic is going on in Owee, I won't worry about that. I'll be worrying about something I might have said or done that's completely irrelevant and not even a problem.
I think lots of people
and it's really annoying, and I'll like fixate on this problem and make it into this massive deal. And then what I do is I have this like list, and I basically write all of my worries down on a piece of paper. Well, no, I don't. I put them on the notes on my phone. Write them on a piece of paper. And then I'll write this whole list of worries, and then I'll go back to the worries. So I'll go, right, I'll say to myself, right, here's your list of worries. Don't think about them. But we'll give yourself some thinking time so that your brain doesn't go into overdrive. So then I'll get into bed, and I'm like, right, now it's worrying time. And I'll go through the list of worries, and I'll be like, oh, well, you've already worried about that so much now that you're over that. So you can take that one off, but we'll add a new one. Probably a really unhealthy way to deal with anxiety.
At least you're taking things off your list.
But actually, you know, and sometimes, you know what, when I get to the point where I've got nothing on my worry list, I'm like, whoa, right, we need to find something to worry about. This is ridiculous. Then we'll rack our brains for old worries and re-put them on the fucking list. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's never ending.
Oh, bless you.
Circle. But I mean, Owee does help with anxiety in a way. When things used to happen, like really bad things back in the day, like I used to literally have these mental breakdowns. Like I used to like cry and like shake, and like my hands used to turn to these lobster claws, and Charlie would be like, bro, like chill out. And now I don't ever worry now, because it's like, you know, I've got people who pretty much run the business for me, and I just deal with other aspects.
That's good.
So I don't have to like worry about the day-to-day running, but it's still like super, you do have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Course. But I mean, most things just get done now, so it's pretty chill.
That's good,
and you know, I've got like a guy head of operations, I've got an area manager, obviously Charlie does quite a lot. So sometimes actually there's periods where I can just focus on more creative stuff. So I'd say my life has like definitely gone from zero to hero in a pretty quick time, which is nice.
I was going to say, so obviously you are a great success, and Owee is a great success. So when was the point where you sort of realised that?
Do you know what? It sounds really funny, but when I was younger, like, I'm from a pretty large family, so my mum's got 7 kids, and when we were younger, like we didn't this isn't a sob story, but like when you've got 7 children, your mum can't afford to go out and buy you all the stuff that all the other kids have. So it's like, you know, like you would always kind of have hand-me-downs and stuff, and I always really, and my mum did her best, like, you know, she was a single mum for a long time as well, and I always wanted stuff that I couldn't have. And when I was younger, I always said, when I'm older, I want to be rich, and I was like, I don't care how it happens, but there's not one point in my life where I'm going to go without anymore.
Yeah, that's good.
And the moment I realised I could make it is when I could just go out and buy myself stuff I wanted without having to worry about it.
Yeah.
And like, even though like, you know, some people work for different things in life, like, you know, I do it for the success and the money, and like, but that is what drives me, and that's and the point where I realise that I'm successful is the point where I can buy myself stuff, and like, you know, it is a materialistic way to look at life, but I've always wanted things because I couldn't have things, and now when I have things, it's like a measure of like my success to me,
which is great.
And it's like, but I know I go careful about saying that because there's a lot of people who don't see money in that light, but for me, like, money is freedom, and for me to...
Money is power at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, I just, like, I also love sharing it, and I always help my friends out, but for me, it was just, like, I realised that, like, you know, Owee had become successful when I had this freedom with money to be able to go on holiday if I wanted to just do stuff, and then as Owee grows... You know, it just gives you more and more freedom to be able to do stuff. And also, another measuring point of the success was when I was able to let go, because I'd already delegated all of these tasks and brought in all of these people to run the business for me, that I was like, oh, now I can let go and
that's
have
amazing.
a fucking sick life. And actually...
Well, you deserve it though, because you've worked hard for it.
Yeah, and do you know what though? I do think that when you get to a point where you're not really... doing much with, like, well, obviously I do loads all the time, but when you're at the stage where you can relax more, like, that is the time that you should help other people. So, like, I've helped a few of my friends with their businesses and stuff, because I think it's really important to give back to small businesses that you were once, and be able to help them get off the ground, or, like, you know, support them in a financial way or something, because I also feel like what goes around comes around, and like in life, if you help people, good things will come your way.
Definitely.
But if you're a selfish motherfucker, like nothing good's ever going to come your way.
True. It really is true. I think staying positive and just having that attitude, just go makes it makes it work.
Keep yourself busy.
Yeah. So when you're talking about your more like creative side, are you involved in the artwork that comes like in the diners? I love the artwork of the menus.
All of that. To be fair, I've got a graphic designer called Chris, and he does all of our like brand image, and he's really good. And then we actually had like a guy called Andy Bourne, I think. He was the one that designed all of the characters.
Yeah, I love
that. Actually am not involved in much to do with that. Charlie, my business partner, is my business partner and my lover.
Get it out there.
Is an absolute control freak. So that I'm not even allowed to like decide what colour the light bulbs are. Like, this like. He, to be fair, has got a natural flair. His mum is is an interior designer, and like, they're both like really classy, and you know, he knows what he wants, and that's why. So I let him deal with that. Yeah. I actually have quite a lot of say in what goes on the menu. We both do it together. But again, he's a fucking amazing cook, so a way better cook than me. So most of the things that go on the menu that you'll see, pretty much every special he has designed. But I actually designed quite a lot of the original menu. I'm more of the basic stuff. He's like, you know, like the truffle burgers.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and what advice would you give to someone that's maybe opening a business or wanting to start a business or follow their dreams, you know?
So I've obviously had a failed business, and like, I think a lot of people don't realise that, so they're always like, oh my god, like, you've done so well. I'm like, yeah, well, I also had a failed business that I lost like shitloads of money, because what I've kind of realised in life, your first business probably isn't going to be the one that makes you your money. Like, your first business is like your testing point of like trying out a concept, seeing if it works for you, seeing if you're good at it. So with your first business, I would always say, like, try a smaller model of it. Like, you know, so if you want to open a restaurant, open a pop-up first, open up a street food version first, try out the concept, see if people like it, then grow it. Don't go balls deep from never having a restaurant to opening a restaurant, because like there's so many things that could go wrong. If you're going for a niche concept, like at the end of the day, like that isn't like, you know, there's, unless you're doing it in some really busy place in London, the chances are that's not going to work out. Always try out your concept on a smaller scale. So if you've got a clothing brand, try selling to your mates or into like an independent store. So always do it on a small scale and then build it up. And also at Owee, we've never accepted any investment. So like it's 100% owned by me and Charlie.
That's amazing.
And I never will accept investment till the day that I need it, because if you have a business and you accept investment at a really early stage when you don't necessarily need it, you're really devaluing your brand, because the money you're getting invested into your business for the percentage then is worth a lot less than in the future. So if you are going to get investment, make sure A, you really, really need it, and B, it's at a point where your business, you're getting top whack for what you want. Because I would only really want someone to invest in Owee if it was really worth my while. So we always try and we have always, you know, reinvested the money in every penny of Owee. We haven't even borrowed any money. All of Owee's money is from money that we've made and reinvested back into the business.
That's amazing.
So it's really good to try and grow a business as organically as you possibly can.
So, the sort of what I was going to say is what's next for Owee? But obviously you've got lots of shops opening.
Yeah, so we've got the 4, and then we've got Brighton, and then we've got Brixton, and then also we are going to hopefully be opening in Cardiff, because so many people want us to open in Cardiff.
Amazing.
But Cardiff love our food.
Good.
So yeah.
And then you've also got the Channel 4 documentary coming out.
So we've been filming that for ages, like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it's basically like, because we were the restaurant of the year, and they thought me and Charlie would be good characters for TV. We've been following us around doing this documentary, seeing every single meltdown I've had in the last 6 months.
I think I've got your anxiety list
when
on it.
oh my god, my anxiety list now. I was like, why the fuck did I say that? No, I was having a good old moan about the pandemic. But like, they started filming like pre-pandemic, mid-pandemic, after pandemic, so they have seen every emotion of Verity and every like anxiety attack.
That's what people want to see though, real life. And,
totally.
It's not all smooth sailing, you know.
No, exactly. And that one gets aired in September. I'm kind of hoping that something drastic happens and it gets cancelled. I was like to the guy, do you think that, you know, I've portrayed myself in a good light? And he was like, look, it's real life. I'm like, you're not answering my fucking questions.
That's a no then.
I know, he's like, no, you two come across really raw. You're raw. I'm like, raw?
And the final question for all the Owee fans. What do you have to do to get a black card for Owee? What is the status?
Well, we gave one to like our plumber because he does like really cheap work. And then we gave one to some people who played at our Christmas party, like Miney Lane, because they're pretty massive and you'd have to pay a lot of money to get them to do a set. And then there's one to James Haggart because he's probably bought me 1 million fucking drinks in my lifetime and he's my bestest friend.
Aww.
I think it's just like people who
deserve it. Yeah, work time.
There's not really a formation for it. It just happens when it happens. It was a wedding present for my friend Rachel.
That's a great wedding present.
Chris, the
I'll invite you to my wedding then. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So every guest we do ask to bring their quote on. So your quote is?
Everything happens for a reason. Because even if something bad happens, there's always something good that happens off the back of it.
Definitely.
And every single time something's fucked up at Owee, fucking hell, I'm swearing so much today. Every time something goes wrong at Owee, my mum will go mad if she sees it.
She will be saying, I'll send it to her.
Every time something goes wrong at Owee, I don't ever see it in a negative light. I actually see it in a positive light because there's so many things that you learn off the back of it. Like, so many things. And like when you have a business, you are just constantly learning and adapting and like changing your ways. So like, you know, we've had like catastrophic things happen, but then it teaches you next time not to do that again. And without it, because there's no guide on how to run a restaurant, how to run a business. Like, you can like read starting up a business dummies guide and everything you want, but really until you put it into practice, you never know. And like, there's so many hurdles you come along the way, and there's so many highs and so many lows, but all of those lows are happening for a reason.
Amazing.
So, I've always felt like that.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us today. So again, if you haven't tried Owee, you really need to get down and try it now because it really is the best burgers in town.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching our video. We really hope you enjoyed it.
Please share and like and subscribe downstairs so you never miss an episode.